subcontinent has now defined ourselves.
In the news, childbirth, first IVF triplet delivered at UCH. Climate change, African leaders push for strong action. U.S. unemployment, weekly jobless claims spiked to 744,000. Alleged fraud, CBN freezes 11 bank accounts. FIFA ranking, Super Eagles move up in FIFA ranking table. Details shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital-first Pan-African news network. I am Rose Audu, and this is TOS News 360. The University College Hospital in Ibadan on Wednesday took delivery of triplets of the first in vitro fertilization carried out in the hospital. The 45-minute procedure for the delivery began at about 1 p.m. The mother and the babies, all females, are in good condition. Expressing delight about the delivery, UCH Chief Medical Director Professor Jesse Otegbayo described it as another success story for the hospital. The babies weighed 1.4 kilogram, 2.5 kilogram, and 2.4 kilograms, respectively. And striking judiciary workers are expected to hold two crucial meetings with different parties in the effort to resolve the crisis that grounded courts across the nation a couple of days ago. The first of the meeting is with the Nigerian Bar Association. The meeting will hold Thursday between the NBA leadership and the striking judiciary workers. Will also meet with state governors. Although details of that meeting were yet to be concluded, the JUSN had embarked on the strike in protest against the denial of the judicial arm of government its financial autonomy granted it in the Nigerian Constitution and affirmed by a January 2014 judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Labour and Employment Minister Chris Ngige and his health counterpart Osage Ehanire failed on Wednesday to get striking doctors back to work with the payment of their outstanding salary arrears. The doctors, under the auspices of the National Association of Resident Doctors, remained unmoved amidst a confirmed payment already received by some of their members. They had insisted to continue with the strike because of what the association called insincerity of the government to meet their demands. The strike enters the 8th day today. Ngige had said on Wednesday that the government had paid the salary arrears of 1,000 house officers and directed the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria to open the recruitment portal. All roads lead to Federal Capital Territory on Thursday as men and women whose names are in the Guinness Book of Records attended the public presentation of Aisha Buhari's book. The public presentation of the book, entitled Aisha Buhari, Being Different and written by Hajo Sani, was chaired by the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, at the Banquet Hall Presidential Villa, Abuja. Vice President Yemi Oshibaja, Governor of Osun State, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, and wife, the Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, Governor of Yobe State, Malabuni, among others, were all in attendance. And on insecurity, former head of state Abdul Salami Abubakar said on Wednesday that there are over 6 million weapons in the country. Abubakar, a retired general who spoke during a meeting of the National Peace Committee in Abuja, said President Muhammadu Buhari was aware of the meeting. According to him, the meeting was convened for security purposes. The meeting was attended by the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, Governors Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State and Simon Lalong of Plateau State, religious and military leaders. This is your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, You're watching TOS News 360. More stories after the break. Welcome back. The battle for the soul of the People's Democratic Party in the southwest between former Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo has instigated the leadership of the party to drag the duo to Bukola Saraki-led Reconciliation Committee. The tussle between the two statesmen, which seems protracted, has not only caused a division, but has also delayed the Congress of the party. Spokesperson of the PDP, Kola Ologbodeyan, said this on Wednesday. According to Ologbodeyan, the National Working Committee of the party has resolved that a meeting comprising the National Chairman, Deputy National Chairman, National Secretary, the Senator Saraki-led Reconciliation Committee, and Strategy, Governor Makinde and former Governor Fayose, be held for resolution of issues concerning the Southwest PDP. And moving on to the African scene, a military intelligence sharing agreement has been signed by Uganda and Egypt, the East African countries said late on Wednesday. Amidst the rising tension between Egypt and Ethiopia over a hydropower dam by Ethiopia on the Nile River, a statement by the Uganda People's Defense Forces said the agreement was signed between UPDF's Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence and the Egyptian Intelligence Department. General Sameh Sabel Al-Dugray, a top Egyptian intelligence official who headed Cairo's delegation to Kampala, was quoted in the UPDF statement saying, "The fact that Uganda and Egypt share the Nile, cooperation between the two countries is inevitable because what affects Ugandans will in one way or the other affect Egypt. The two countries, according to the agreement, will now share resourceful intelligence on a regular basis." In a ceremony to commemorate the 27th year anniversary of the Rwandan 1994 genocide against the Tutsis, Rwandan President Paul Kagame on Wednesday welcomed the reports concluding that France bears overwhelming responsibilities for the genocide. This year's theme, as previous year, is Remember, Unite, and Renew. It is no news that Africa is one of the most vulnerable continents to climate change. Climate vulnerability, a situation that unfortunately has been aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic. To do more to fight climate change in Africa, African heads of state met virtually this week to make a push for the global community. Every day, the thunderstorms seem more violent, flooding is more frequent, and droughts more severe. Around the world, forests are razed, crops are failing, people are being forced to flee their homes, becoming climate refugees. Sea levels are rising, the oceans are turning to acid, and salt is penetrating croplands, said President Ali Bongo Ondimba of Gabon, spelling out some of the adverse effects of climate change in a poetic way. Africa contributed just 3% of global emissions, but we are the continent which will pay the reiterated. A plan laid out by the African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina to mobilize $25 billion for climate adaptation for Africa is what the African leaders intend, using for the African Adaptation Initiative of the African Union. African leaders are pushing a bold multi-billion-dollar plan ahead of the vital 26th Union Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland in November. And following the acquittal upheld by the International Criminal Court a week ago, former Ivory Coast President Laurent Gbagbo and a close ally are free to return home, according to President Alassane Ouattara on Wednesday. Ouattara said they recognized the decision of the court, saying the two will be able to return to Ivory Coast whenever they wish, and added that Gbagbo will benefit from the status of a former head of state. The duo faced charges on crimes against humanity, instigating post-electoral violence in 2010 to 2011 that left 3,000 people dead in the West African nation and world's largest producer of cocoa. Gbagbo's supporters say his acquittal and return could help ease political tensions. Gbagbo, who has since been living in Brussels, continues to have significant support in the country. This is your digital-first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. You're still watching TOS News 360. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Chancellor Angela Merkel have expressed concern over a spike in tensions in East Ukraine. The two leaders also discussed jailed opposition figure Alexei Navalny. In a phone call on Thursday, the Kremlin said, the call came as clashes between pro-Russia separatists and Ukrainian forces have increased in recent weeks, and a Russian military build-up on the border heightened fears of an escalation in the conflict. And new filings for U.S. unemployment benefit increased for the second week in a row. According to government data released on Thursday, it defied analyst expectation of a drop as the economy reopens. The Labor Department reported 744,000 new jobless claims, seasonally adjusted in the week ended April 3, an increase of 16,000 from the previous week's upwardly reversed level. That was a setback in the otherwise upbeat jobs recovery, and an indication the mass layoffs caused by the COVID-19 pandemic continue to be felt in the world's largest economy. An Egyptian court has sentenced the former acting leader of the Muslim Mahmoud Azad to life in prison on Thursday, months after he was detained in the Cairo apartment. Security forces arrested Azad last August in a raid in Cairo's 5th settlement district, the latest blow to a movement that has been the target of a crackdown since it was forced from power in 2013. Azad was sentenced on charges of inciting violence and supplying firearms during clashes outside the Brotherhood's headquarters between its supporters and opponents in 2013. A judicial source said other senior Brotherhood members have been sentenced to life in prison in the same case. And Nigeria's current food situation could get even worse in the poultry sector as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirmed the outbreak of avian influenza, also known as the bird flu, in Kano, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and Niger states. Stakeholders fear that unless urgent measures are taken to arrest the spread, more states may be affected, posing a serious threat to investment in poultry farming and farmers in the country. According to the NCDC Director General Chike Ihekwezu, Health National Rapid Response Team from NCDC and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture were deployed to Bauchi, Kano, and Plateau states. A total of 83 human samples were received and 64, equivalent of 87.7%, samples were tested. Of the tested samples, 7, equivalent of 10.9%, were positive for flu A, 6, 85.7% were subtype A/H5, while 1, 14.3% was on subtype Ebu, he explained. And on business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has said that it got an order from the Federal High Court, Abuja Division, to freeze 11 bank accounts to enable it to conduct investigations into suspicious activities. The Apex Bank also added that the order was renewable on expiration between only on good reasons. It, however, stated that any person affected by the order was entitled to approach the court to seek to set aside, discharge, or have the order reviewed for genuine reasons. This is your digital-first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. You're still watching TOS News 360. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and still on business. The president, World Bank Group, David Malpass, has said that the group is working in collaboration with the International Monetary Fund on the common framework that the G20 established for dealing with debt overhang and debt burdens. The World Bank president said this while responding to questions at the press conference at the 2021 spring meeting on April 7th. He noted that many of the middle-income countries had problems accessing market-based finance and also had rising fiscal deficits, which were problematic. And now on entertainment, Nigerian artist Mr. Izzy has apologized for missing a scheduled MTV-based West Africa virtual event. On Wednesday, the leg-over singer issued an apology on Twitter to MTV Base and the organizer of the event. In his apology, Mr. Izzy explained that he couldn't meet up due to a medical emergency. According to an earlier announcement, Mr. Izzy was slated to attend the virtual event alongside Bada Akintunde Johnson, Enya Lawa, and Folu Storms, who were also scheduled to speak. The virtual event and a retreat was organized with the sole purpose of finding ways to build sustainable careers in Nigeria and Africa. And still on entertainment, Nollywood actress Tonto Dikeh has been appointed an ambassador of the United Nations Rescue Service. The 35-year-old film star was honored in an unveiling by the UN's Humanitarian and Rescue Office on Wednesday. Dikeh took to her Instagram page to share multiple photos from her appointment in the capacity, including one which shows her receiving a UN award plaque, an ambassadorial sash, as well as an official number plate for the new position. And now on sports, World Football Governing Body FIFA has released the ranking table of April, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria has moved up 4 steps higher, becoming the 32nd best football team in the world. The 2013 African Cup of Nations champion moved 4 steps higher, leaving the likes of Morocco and Algeria behind them in the ranking table released in April by the Federation of International Football Association on Thursday. The Super Eagles closed out AFCON qualifier with 2 wins, scoring 4 goals without conceding. The team won in their encounters with Benin Republic and Lesotho in the last qualifying matches of the rescheduled Africa Cup of Nations Cup scheduled for Cameroon in January of 2021. I beg your pardon, 2022. The federal government has declared the 20th ongoing National Sport Festival in Edo State will continue as planned. It countered the announcement by the local organizing committee that the festival will end abruptly 12 noon on Thursday over lack of fund. A statement by Assistant Director, Press Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Ramon Balogun, on Thursday morning explained Edo government has not communicated its constraint officially to the ministry. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, therefore, has clarified that the 20th National Sports Festival Edo 2020 is going on as planned, with competition going on as scheduled. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African news network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like TOS Television Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. I am Rose Audu, and many thanks for watching.